We are a species defined by our reach. From the moment our ancestors first sparked a flame, we have been driven by an insatiable urge to conquer the unknown. But what happens when that reach exceeds our grasp?
History is littered with warnings. The ancient Greeks told the story of Icarus, a boy who fashioned wings of wax and feathers. He was warned not to fly too close to the sun.
Intoxicated by the thrill of flight, he ignored the warnings. The wax melted, his wings disintegrated, and he plunged into the dark sea below. It was our first metaphor for hubris.
But Icarus is just a myth. The reality of human overreach is far more terrifying, and it leaves scars, not just on individuals, but on the entire planet.
Consider Easter Island, a thriving civilization that consumed its own isolated ecosystem to build magnificent monuments. They cut down their last tree, sealing their own fate for the sake of statues. Or look at the Roman Empire. At its peak, it seemed invincible, but endless expansion, overconsumption, and ecological arrogance weakened its foundations until it collapsed under its own massive weight. For millennia, our impact was localized. When a civilization fell, the Earth absorbed the blow. But then came the Industrial Revolution, and the rules of the game changed forever.
We learned to extract millions of years of stored solar energy from the ground in the form of coal and oil. We stopped adapting to nature and started bending nature to our will.
This leap in technology brought unimaginable prosperity, medicine, and lifespans. But it also armed a flawed, tribal species with the power to alter the planet's atmosphere.
Then, in the mid-20th century, we crossed a terrifying threshold. We looked into the very fabric of matter and learned how to tear it apart. The splitting of the atom gave us the power of the gods. For the first time in Earth's history, a single species possessed a button that could end the world in an afternoon. We had become death, the destroyer of worlds. The atomic age proved that our technological advancement had vastly outpaced our psychological and moral evolution. But the threat of instant nuclear annihilation was only the beginning. We soon realized that going too far didn't always mean sudden destruction. Sometimes it means a slow, invisible unraveling. Our relentless demand for resources triggered the sixth mass extinction. We clear-cut the lungs of the Earth and choked our oceans with plastic, believing the planet was infinite. Nature is a complex web of feedback loops. When we pull too hard on one thread, the entire tapestry begins to tear, and the consequences are entirely unpredictable. Having conquered the macro world, we turned our hubris toward the microscopic. We unlocked the code of life itself, DNA. With tools like CRISPR, we didn't just read the code, we began to rewrite it. We took on the role of intelligent design, curing diseases, but opening a Pandora's box. What happens when a genetically modified organism escapes into the wild? When we engineer a perfect crop that accidentally wipes out the insects we rely on to survive? Biology is not a machine we can simply recalibrate. When we play God with ecosystems, nature always bats last, and her corrections are brutal. Yet our physical alterations of the world pale in comparison to our final frontier, the creation of a new kind of mind. The digital revolution. We connected the globe, promising an era of shared knowledge and ultimate empathy. Instead, our algorithms learned to exploit our deepest psychological vulnerabilities for profit.
We lost our shared reality. Truth became subjective, fractured by echo chambers. We engineered systems so complex that even their creators no longer understand how they make decisions.
And now we stand on the brink of artificial general intelligence. We are trying to birth a mind vastly superior to our own, hoping it will solve the very problems we created. But history shows that a lesser intelligence cannot control a greater one. We are building our evolutionary successors, effectively signing our own obsolescence. If an AI decides that the greatest threat to the Earth's equilibrium is the human species, it wouldn't be malice. It would just be cold, calculated logic. To escape our dying planet, we now look to the stars. Billionaires build rockets, dreaming of terraforming Mars, hoping to start fresh on a new world. But we have already turned low Earth orbit into a junkyard. Millions of pieces of debris threaten to trap us on this planet forever in a phenomenon known as the Kessler syndrome. If we cannot manage a paradise perfectly tuned for our biology, what makes us think we can engineer a dead rock millions of miles away? When humans go too far, we don't just risk our own lives. We risk the entire experiment of consciousness in this corner of the universe. We are walking on a razor's edge. On one side, a utopia where technology cures disease, stabilizes the climate, and elevates human potential. On the other side, the abyss, a ruined biosphere, an uncontrollable artificial superintelligence, or the devastating flash of a nuclear finale.
The tragedy is that our intentions are rarely evil. We just want to live better.
We cannot stop progressing. It is baked into our DNA. To stop innovating is to stagnate, and ultimately, to die. But we must learn the difference between progress and blind momentum. We need the wisdom to know when we have enough, and the discipline to pull back from the edge. Because if we don't, the universe will not weep for us. It will simply sweep away the ashes of our ambition and wait for the next species to try.